With the aerodynamic regulations released for the 2026 season, Formula One is edging ever nearer to a new era of racing. 2026 will bring new smaller and lighter cars with a brand new set of active aerodynamics and a completely overhauled engine. Running on sustainable fuel and with an increased electrical component, Formula One is trying to align its engines with what is happening in the car manufacturer market, pushing what is possible with electricity and sustainability. However, when you're working to push the boundaries of what is possible with a car engine, problems are bound to arise, and for one seriously struggling manufacturer, the 2026 engines might just be a step too far. Today, I'll talk about how Alpine's continued collapse as an F1 team has reached its engine department, which is on the brink of being shut down. So, don't go anywhere. Alpine's F1 struggles are well known by now. A promising 2021, which included a race win for Esteban Ocon, was followed by a podiumless 2022, which saw then-boss Otmar Szafnauer embarrassed when Fernando Alonso delayed his announcement that he was moving to Aston Martin just long enough to let Oscar Piastri escape his contractual obligations and move to McLaren, despite Alpine releasing an announcement that Oscar would be driving for them in 2023. A very disappointing 2023 season that was plagued with inconsistency despite two podium finishes led to many of the senior staff being replaced or moved in a management reshuffle, and the team would eventually finish 6th in the Constructors' Championship, 2 places lower than the previous season. 2024 has started even worse, with just 4-point finishes in 9 races, leaving the French constructor in 8th position. There have been signs of life in recent races, but matching last season's 6th place finish looks impossible for now. Part of Alpine's problems have been a deficit in engine power output, the team have claimed. In July 2023, the topic of engine equalization was put before the F1 Commission after an FIA analysis of the performance levels of the current frozen specification of power units indicated that Alpine's Renault engine is approximately 15 to 25 kilowatts, equivalent to 20 to 33 horsepower, down on its closely matched rivals. The FIA called this a notable performance gap in a statement released after the F1 Commission met at the Belgian Grand Prix last year. Despite engine development being frozen, the regulations did allow for changes to be made in 2023, but for any changes to go ahead for any engine manufacturer, they required what had been framed as a good faith agreement, apparently arranged between all the teams and engine builders back in 2021 when the engine freeze was first agreed. Basically, for Alpine to make changes, everyone had to agree that they were at a performance deficit and the changes would bring them in line with the other teams, not giving them an advantage. Alpine's issue was that getting the F1 grid to agree on anything is almost impossible at the best of times, so getting them all to agree on helping out an opponent was always going to be harder than climbing Everest in a mankini. Alpine eventually abandoned their attempt to gain some more engine power, instead deciding to turn their focus to the 2026 engine, but that now appears to have hit a roadblock as well. Reports indicate that the Alpine F1 team have opened talks with other engine manufacturers in an attempt to become a customer team for 2026 instead of producing their own engines. As part of an evaluation of its F1 project, prompted by a difficult start to the current campaign, it's emerged that senior Renault and Alpine management have left no stone unturned in working out what is needed to turn things around. The decision to explore the option of becoming a customer team instead of a full manufacturer has been reached because of the incredible cost of designing and building an F1 engine, and the current power deficit showing upper management that being an engine manufacturer is no guarantee of success. McLaren's success as a Mercedes customer and Aston Martin's achievements last season have added to the evidence that building your own engine isn't the cornerstone of success that many thought it once was. The most logical solution to avoid a potential manufacturer clash for Renault would be to take a supply of customer engines from Red Bull, who don't build their own car, and they'll have their own power units from 2026. However, despite talks with the team, it is thought that the chances of a Red Bull deal are unlikely because of the logistical complications that the Milton Keynes-based team would face in supplying a third team alongside itself and sister squad RB for its debut campaign in 2026. There is a rule stating that the engine manufacturer with the least number of customers will be obligated to sell their engines to a team in need, which would kick in this situation if Alpine can't reach an agreement with a supplier. In 2026, that will be Honda, who will be powering Aston Martin. Audi, who are taking over Sauber in 2026, will also only be powering their own car, but as it is their first year as an engine manufacturer, they're exempt from this rule. Speaking last year about the possibility of a customer team, Red Bull team principal Christian Horner said, "I think we need to establish ourselves first. We don't want to overstretch ourselves. I think already supplying 2 teams in 26, that is probably even slightly beyond optimum in year 1, but it just gives us a capacity and capability for further down the line. So I think first of all, we need to firmly establish ourselves, and then we have the capability to take more on from there." Mercedes would likely be willing to sell engines to Alpine as they're losing Aston Martin as a customer in 2026. They were by far the best team under the new regulations in 2014, dominating the grid with a superior engine for many years, and would likely be a safe bet for 2026 as well. The news of Alpine potentially becoming a customer team followed very quickly after an embarrassing showing from the Alpine World Endurance Championship team at the Le Mans 24-hour race. Having been at the race myself over the weekend, I saw firsthand the huge number of Alpine fans who turned out to support their home side, only to see both cars retire early on due to engine failure. The Mechachrome V6 engine is described as a particularly unreliable F2 engine, which Alpine should never have tried to make into a WEC engine. Mechachrome as a supplier are the butt of many jokes in WEC due to their terrible reliability, and at Le Mans they proved that the stereotype was correct. The Alpine motor racing teams have reappeared in recent years as Renault have tried to restart the Alpine car manufacturer brand that had largely disappeared in the 21st century. With limited motor racing success though, the amount of investment required to run any motor racing team, especially one as complex as in F1 and WEC, has come into question. Do they continue to pump money into motorsports to try and sell more road cars, or would they be better off just focusing on the manufacturing of the Alpine sports cars and marketing them in another way? This has led to many rumors about Alpine potentially selling their F1 team. With the price of an F1 team at an all-time high and no shortage of interested buyers, it is a possibility. But despite the rumors, the team have continued to refute any thought of a sale to the public. Speaking to Autocar, Renault CEO Luca De Meo made it clear that they are committed to the Alpine F1 team for the long run. "It's not my style. We'll not sell even a part of this thing. We don't need the money. I've had people making offers left and right, then talking in the press about it. But we're not interested. It would be stupid and I won't do it." In the lengthy interview, he did cite, however, that Renault had never successfully got on top of the turbo hybrid engine rules, which had cost it performance throughout the current regulation cycle. "When we began the hybrid era, our engine didn't perform," he said. "We had been world champions with Red Bull, but with hybrid, things went wrong. Even the engine we developed in 2021 had a 0.2 to 0.5 second disadvantage every lap. And this year we've screwed up with the car. If you combine everything, we're up to 1.5 seconds from where we need to be." While Renault may be determined to not sell the Alpine F1 team, the halting of their engine manufacturing work would be an embarrassment. Having sunk tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars into the 2026 engine already, scrapping the project now would not only hurt their egos but also their investors. It is a decision that won't have been taken lightly, but perhaps, if they don't see any advantage in building their own engines, then just cutting their losses now is the best option. What do you think of Alpine potentially halting engine production from 2026? Is it another sign of an imminent sale, or do you believe Luca De Meo when he says the team isn't for sale? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.